someone who doesn't need anything other than plaudits right now is the person I mentioned a moment ago, who's just been given, no, wrong, not been given, won the heavyweight championship of the world by beating Joseph Parker, Fabio Wardley. This is a fabulous achievement for Fabio, isn't it? Against the backdrop of every single fight the poor bastard goes into, with the exception of Justice Hooney, everyone thinks that he's going to get beat.
It's incredible, mate. You go right back to Nathan Gorman when he picked up the British title, and he was a big underdog going into that fight. You go, he had that label tag of white-collar boxer going into it, and no amateur experience, no pedigree. He was just rough, tough. He's going to find his level, and he's just stepped up every single time. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a fantastic story and well-deserved, by the way, as well.
I picked Fraser Clark to beat him twice. I just felt with Fraser's amateur pedigree, and it was exactly that before it. Yeah. Not much amateur pedigree, good lad, can punch, he can fight, but I thought Fraser's more rounded, a bit more experience, proved wrong both times.
Look at the incremental steps he's taken. I mean, I was the same as you. I picked Fraser for the second fight.
Same with Parker.
And I thought to myself, we all did, didn't we? Yeah. He dealt with Fraser, then he goes on and he deals with Justice Hooney, doesn't he? Yeah. And then the next incremental step is Joseph Parker, despite the fact we all think Joseph Parker fought the wrong fight, and despite the fact we all think that he got a punch from heaven against Justice Hooney, where he was getting boxed out of the ring, he's still there.
We still all picked Parker, didn't we?
And he's never been down. And people keep talking about when he gets one on the chin. There's no evidence that when he does get one on the chin, he's going to wobble either, is there?
Mate, he's had loads on the chin. He's
Who do you think he should fight? Who do you think he should fight as his first defence?
Moses Atoma.
Moses is up there and ranked. He's there for that opportunity. You go
Moses all day long.
Do we think it's going to be all day long?
Well, it's whether Frank wants to take that risk with Moses yet, because it's not about whether he can beat. It's not whether he can beat Fabio Wardley. It's like once he's there, then he goes. So, what sort of route do they want to take with Moses? But don't you think AJ's a massive fight for him there, mate?
Sure, of course it is.
Yeah. Makes sense for Fabio all done it to get a big payday against AJ.
But they was all talking about him fighting Usyk not that long ago.
Yeah,
saying this is the guy to fight Usyk.
No. Yeah, but I think that
I'm not saying he beats him. I'm just saying. But they were saying that.
I think that's the general feeling that Moses Atoma is the guy, the heavyweight of the future, isn't he? But it's just about what you do with him and when you let him go.
It depends whether Fabio, who is the defending champion now, wants to have that fight as his first fight out of the gate, because I think he'd quite like to preside. And despite the fact he probably thinks he can beat Moses Atoma, I think he'd quite like to be the A side of the conversation rather than the B side, which in the instance of Moses Atoma, despite him being the champion, Moses Atoma would probably be billed as the A side. Talking about A side fights, I think we've got a brilliant fight coming up this weekend, which I'm disappointed not to be going to, because I was going to go, which is obviously David Benadivez versus Anthony Yarde.
Yeah.
This, to me, represents possibly Anthony's best chance to win a world title.
I'm not sure.
You don't think so?
Listen, he's been in with two formidable world champions before, in Kovalev back in 2019, also against Benavidez, where he put up a great fight as well. But this David Benavidez, this guy can fight as well. Look, he's never knocked anyone out, by the way, at light heavyweight. Since he stepped up, two fights have gone to points, but he is a phenomenal fighter, not just a heavy-handed kid, but, I mean, his boxing IQ's brilliant, hand speed's good. This is a tough night for Anthony
The
Yarde.
Mexican monster, they call him, Spencer, don't they? And that's exactly what he is. He's a monster. As Spencer said.
Has he carried the same power up, though, from super middleweight?
We're going to find out.
Because it doesn't look like he has.
Well, he had the two fights he's had have been on points, that's right.
That's my point.
Yeah, but against good opposition.
So where are we with Anthony Yarde, then? Are we giving him a chance in this fight, Paul?
He's got a chance early, as he has in most of his fights. I think his best chance to win the title was against Kovalev, who was obviously fading at the time, but...
Wasn't he very young and inexperienced at that time?
He was young and experienced, but obviously the young is also carrying a lot of fitness and a lot of youth and a lot of virility, shall we say, to be able to beat the old man that you're in with, and Kovalev was getting old then. But this is a different kettle of fish. Now, my only issue with Anthony Yarde always has been the engine. Has he got the engine to do 12 good rounds? Because you're going to need it against Benavidez. Yeah. He's tough, he's durable. And if he isn't the biggest of punches at this weight, then you're going to go the distance with him. So can you outlast him over a 12-round period and take the belt off the champion over the 12-round period? He's proven time and again he's good for 6, maybe 7. But then by the 8-round mark, he's done. And that's not how you win world title fights or big title fights.
But then so that on that basis, do we give him any chance in this fight? I mean, I want Anthony Yarde to win this fight. I like Anthony Yarde. I think he's got big balls. He doesn't duck anything and goes in and fights the best fighters. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, there's a reason for that, because that's where the paydays are. And Frank's been brilliant, and that's why there should be a little bit more gratitude 18 months ago from Tundi and Anthony Yarde rather than this standoff with Queensberry. But given the fact that we know that he does well for the first 6 rounds of most fights, whether it's against Benavidez or whether it's against Kovalev, do we give him a chance of blasting Benavidez out of this fight?
He's got a chance, for sure, because he's
a real chance.
He's got a chance early, but...
he's got. It's a tough night for him, Simon.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, but it should be, shouldn't it?
By the way,
it should be.
I'd love him to win. I'd love him to win. I'd love him with the character fight.
I was going to say to you, you must be looking at it.
As I said time and again, I have to say it on records and say it on here. I really like the lads. I've met him a few times, and every time I've met him, he's been so polite, down to earth.
Do you like Tunde?
That's another kettle of fish, innit? We'll get to that later. Tunde's tongue-in-cheek, by the way. I think Tunde is very tongue-in-cheek, and I think one day I'll end up having a cup of tea with him, but for now we're disagreeing on what we're saying.
He's all right.
So I keep hearing.
Running out of time, so we'll just finish on this last piece about Sam Noakes fighting Abdullah Mason.
Yeah, Abdullah Mason's, listen, he's a class act, young kid, 21 years of age, but southpaw, heavy hands, boxing IQ's brilliant. His one weakness, by the way, is he keeps his right hand quite low. He's open, susceptible to a left hook. He got dropped by Vasquez with the left hook, by the way, and that's probably Sam Noakes' best chance. Heavy-handed kid, Sam Noakes, but he's in against what I see as probably the best. Can you call him a talent still in Abdullah Mason? But the best kid in the America at the moment.
I think Abdullah Mason is probably the next big thing in world boxing.
I agree.
He's that good. He reminds me of a young... Do you remember Mick Cornelius Bozo Edwards?
Yeah, of course.
Who Mickey Duff used to manage. Another
Oh, yes, of course. Bozo Edwards, yeah.
He's a good friend of mine, by the way, but that's neither by the by. But he reminds me of him because this guy's such a good punch picker and he's a good body puncher.
Good fighter.
Yeah.
I tell you who might fall into that category of someone to watch, really watch. For me, is one of the most exciting fighters. Before I wrap, is Pat Brown. I'm really fancying this kid to be a superstar.
Yeah,
real
Pat
superstar.
Brown, butts, bums and seats, is an exciting guy.
Yeah. Right, fellas, that's it for episode 147 of Talk Boxing. Thanks, Spencer. Thanks, Duke. Thanks, Paul. And we'll see you guys next time we're out, which will be next week.